So as we let a few people in and just wait for people to arrive, the news is, if you didn't see the announcement, that the Mini 2, not of our choosing, of Google's choosing, unfortunately, Google and DJI's choosing, will be deprecated. We're a month away from that now, Bryce?
Yeah, almost exactly.
A month from now, the Mini 2 will unfortunately no longer be compatible with the Google Play Store, not actually with us. And Daijibu has asked if we could leave it available as like an APK to sideload. There was some internal conversation around that, but whether that was something we wanted to take on, it does mean some additional work and resources. And given the volume of current Mini 2 flights, we decided that was probably not something that made sense, trying to keep both of those rolling. Mini 3 is fine, Mini 4 is fine, Mini 3 Pro is fine. We're hoping for the Mini 5 to be added to the SDK at some point, although there's never any guarantees with DJI. But current plan is to sunset the Mini 2 app. The good news is we'll only have one app, a little bit less confusing. The good news is the Mini 3 is, the more efficient flyer. The Mini 3 regular being the most efficient, the Mini 3 Pro and the Mini 4 Pro being the best in the wind. So I know some of you choose different ones for different reasons. But yeah, Mini 2, sad day.
Pour one out for a real one, guys. That said, there is a modicum of good news there. As noted, it's not something Spexy can engineer around. We don't love this news, but we do want to show our appreciation for the Mini 2 pilots who have helped build the network. So we're going to reward our top 3 Mini 2 pilots with a special mission, just like a typical mission, 7 minutes to fly, but it's going to reward 400 USDC. You can use the money as you see fit, but it's our hope that you will use it to purchase maybe something like a Mini 3 that's almost exactly priced at that with shipping to upgrade your kit and keep flying on the network. But again, up to you. Either way, it's our show of appreciation. We'll be reaching out to those people in the coming days. And just a quick note on that, it is limited to people who primarily use the Mini 2 to upload to the network. So if you've done it once or twice, unfortunately, you may not qualify.
Yeah, to a top Mini 2 pilots of 2026. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. I have triple checked our winners as of today, but we still have to reach out to them and confirm, and we will be doing that as soon as tomorrow. But if that's it on the Mini 2 side, you guys can see the details in announcements. We'll have an official email to you all as soon as tomorrow. Something else to flag on Nav's side was SD card best practices. I believe this was shared in pilot announcements, but too long didn't read. It's a potential reason for some of the failed uploads we've been seeing. This one sounds very familiar to me as a former photographer. Long and short, your SD cards have a limited life, especially if you use them a lot. And at a certain point, they can stop functioning as they should, which can cause weird unintended issues, which can in some cases look like uploading issues. I'll let you guys check out the details there or ask your questions in chat. Just lastly on the announcement side, as mentioned last week, as mentioned this week, as top of mind for all our pilots, all the May launches are in pilot announcements now. That said, we will also take you through the demand-led priority missions and the mission launches from this week and next. Do you have anything to add, Graham, before I take us to our demand-led missions?
No. Yeah, May is locked and loaded. Big, question happening in the chat is how much will the hybrid missions be worth? They will be launched as supply-led hybrid missions. All hybrid missions will be launching at $14. We will be launching any new, or the vast majority of new demand campaigns with completion incentives on top of that. So demand being customer task campaigns that have a higher level of urgency, but the base supply rewards will be $14 per hybrid mission as we kick off in May. So that's another big piece of news. This is a big call, Bryce.
It's a big call. We got a lot going on.
Nav, can you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is 11 USDC for the Canadian pilots. Nav is muted again. Can't hear you.
Maybe he'll let us know in the chat.
Yeah, we lost your audio now. Go ahead, Bryce, with the next. We cannot
Sure.
hear you now.
I will take us through our demand-led missions then. So, actually, a shadow of last week's, as you guys have been absolutely crushing it on this side. We had 6 of these to announce last week. We're down to 2. Los Angeles, California still has 20 USDC per mission and a whole lot of missions to fly. And then New Albany, Ohio still has some 20 USDC missions to fly. I will share links to the Explorer in the chat right now. This brings me to this week's launches. Got a lot here, and we're going to have even more next week. So open your ears, check out pilot announcements if you want the specifics. Here we go. On Monday, Providence, Rhode Island. Tuesday, Baltimore, Maryland. Wednesday, Toronto, Ontario. Thursday, Chicago, Illinois, and Detroit, Michigan. And then tomorrow, Friday, we've got Appleton, Wisconsin, Belleville, Ontario, Kansas City, Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri, and Tampa, Florida. This brings me to next week, and we've got a lot of municipalities each week. On Monday, we've got Auburn, California, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Plymouth, Massachusetts. Why can I never say it? Thank you, Graham. Oh, my mouth has just been full of cotton all morning. All right, on Tuesday, we've got Madison, Wisconsin, New Haven, Connecticut, Peoria, Illinois, Portland, Maine, and then on Wednesday, Bentonville, Arkansas, Lexington, New England, Red Deer, Alberta, Canada, Bakersfield, California, Redding, California. Oh, I think I went a little too far there, excuse me. On Thursday, we have Bakersfield, California, Redding, California, the Sioux Falls in South Dakota, Sydney, Nova Scotia, Canada. And then that brings us to Friday of next week. Airdrie, Alberta and Canada, Little Rock, Arkansas, New Haven, Connecticut, Rapid City, South Dakota, and then Trenton, New Jersey, all on Friday. And that, I believe, is about 50 missions per location. We will, I was going to say, share those in the chat. That'll be kind of annoying, but fortunately, Graham shared the complete list in the chat. It wasn't at all annoying. Thank you, Graham.
Not annoying. I did redo that at some requests to be more calendar-like. There's another image that is similar that is by state. I know some people like to plan bits of travel. Some people want to know the when, so we did a bit of both. It's hard to please everybody. There's a fable about that by one song.
There it is, but minute improvements through quality, well-delivered feedback, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, if you know, it's fairly easy to adjust how these are generated with modern technology and AI. So if you want it a little different, ping me and we'll see if we can tweak it even more. I think that one looks pretty good, actually. It's got your Canada and US callouts in colors. It's got your missions by day. There's a question above here about the sort of the rollout. How many missions are there? There aren't as many. One campaign that you missed, Bryce, was the Los Angeles is another, I think. Nav, correct me if I'm wrong, it's in the 600 or 700 mission range that has been announced and the statement of work has been put out, but we're allowing pilots time to coordinate with air traffic as these are in Lance airspace. I also reached out to some pilots who work in and around Texas, so there's some potential deal coming up there that we're working on with the client. So the question is essentially like you're releasing less missions in each city. As you see at the top of the infographic there, 3,700 missions being released now, already announced. That's not including the tasked ones that come up. It is hard to spread these across the entirety of the continent. There's some different things we continue to test for. We try to give everybody a taste as frequently as we can, but also work to generate demand and buyers for the imagery. And where there's more buyers, there's more missions. That's basically, what it comes down to. Why you see a lot of missions in LA, we have more buyers interested in data from LA. Some cities that have come on that are buying, you see more mission launches more regularly in Calgary, demand there. So we do what we can to spread around the sort of data collection that is building a a data repository, a library of imagery that we can use and sell for a variety of purposes. That's what you guys get as a month-long announcement. The ad hoc stuff that comes up, well, we don't get to pick where that is. And in general, this, I think the question is, will this be the same going forward? And the answer to that is no. We're going to be changing how this happens fairly frequently in response to a variety of different inputs and variables. Some of that being you guys and what you guys need and want, and other things being business interests. So that's the long short answer, Bryce.
That was so long and short, Graham. All right, I'm going to take us to the Spexy, well, a whole lot of updates. Let's get to the network first. So, since moving to USDC, something really impressive to share with you guys. Missions and campaigns have seen a negative 40% reduction in completion time. That means something that used to take 14 days to cover is now taking about 8 or 9 days, and that is wildly impressive to me as somebody who's been in the space for a while. On the Discord side of things, there's been a few minor changes over the course of this week. So first of all, over in the hangar, where new pilots would be onboarded, we used to have the category, the hangar, and then something called the hangar, where new pilots would be verified. The category is still called hangar, but I have changed that channel to pilot verification, so that it says exactly what it is. And a lot of new pilots were kind of confused by that hangar process. And then Me6's pilot recruit welcome message is also updated. We've also moved pilot support to an official category and made it viewable to all new members, not just those who have been verified. The reason it was where it was is in the past we've seen support tickets spoofed and just an overwhelming not getting the right support to the right people. We hope we've moved past that, and we want to make it accessible to folks without making them jump through hoops. So that's why that is where it is. Last thing to flag, you might have noticed that top pilots are oranger than they might have been before. We're not 100% sure. We made some refinements. Changed the order of some outdated roles. So top pilots are now orange. We also added some emojis to roles for visibility on type. The various pilot roles that have a Spexy icon attached to them now have a slightly different icon from mods and admins, just for general visibility. We always want it to be very clear when you're talking to a mod or an admin versus anyone else in the Discord. And we also just want you guys to feel very special in your roles. On the community side of these things, we've got two folks I want to call out once again. That's Unusual Silverfish and Daijobu. Unusual Silverfish, once again, on the socials, providing above and beyond support in the Discord. And Daijobu showing us what a mod can do. A lot of answers, and I think the latter is once again in first place. The former, maybe in second or third place in terms of XP this week. I actually have not checked the leaderboard as of yet. Also wanted to say thank you guys so much for your answers to last week's question. We got over a dozen responses to that, or excuse me, over 24 responses to that, and that's just in the thread, to say nothing of the folks who went rogue and just answered in the channel. Ne'er-do-wells, it's all appreciated, and it's all credited with 25 XP. But as a general reminder, you post in the chat on this call, you're going to get 25 XP. You ask a good question in this call, or at least one of the first good questions, you're going to get another 25 XP. You answer the community question that's going to go live in the next 15 minutes, and you do it, you provide that answer in, let's say, the next hour, you're going to get double XP. This brings me to a general question I had for you guys. Unusual Silverfish had suggested, over in community suggestions, some sort of milestone rule for pilots. So if you've flown 100 flights, 500 flights, 5,000 flights, 10,000 flights, maybe some sort of flair, maybe a special role. I would love to know what you guys think about that. I think it's a good idea, but I would like to know what would make it feel meaningful to you. Like, what would make it feel special? Or have you seen anything that works and looks good? Feel free to share that in suggestions or DM me, whether it's badges, whether it's using some of the, I can't remember what Discord calls these things, boosts, to enable a few more features. Just a question of what would matter to you guys. I have been talking for a bit, Graham. And I am feeling like maybe I should breathe. So I'm going to let you answer any questions you might have seen pop up in the chat, and I will be posting that Ask a Pilot question in the next minute, if you can handle that for me.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds good. I can do that. Question from Darkhound UK, and I have a question back for you, Darkhound UK. If you're in the UK, I might have a little bit of work for you, but you mentioned Spain in the EU. As we've responded before, we certainly do have international expansion plans on the roadmap, but our priority right now is a strong product market fit. So really making sure that the products we're able to generate and deliver from the imagery you collect in the field is valuable enough to grow and cover the costs and scale before we, we don't want to put the cart in front of the horse, so to speak, and scale before we know that the product meets the demand in the market. So that's really the goal prior to large scale expansion. We do have a little bit of data collection happening in the UK for a specific client, doing that in partnership with Niantic. But otherwise, North America until we feel like the engine's really humming, and then we'll start quickly looking at larger scale expansion. That was question one. Feedback on pricing. I understand that people would love the pricing to be higher. A value per mission. We are putting a value after significant testing that we think is both fair and sustainable, sticks to sort of the $30 to $50 an hour range that we shoot for pilots to be able to make when they're out flying. Probably even a little higher than that if you're efficient and depending on your setup and batteries. It does vary quite a bit depending on the drone, the Mini 3 versus the Mini 3 Pro or Mini 4 Pro. And it also varies, obviously, based on your location and weather conditions and wind, and there's only so much we can do about that. But we do shoot for maintaining a similar per hour and per day earnings per pilot, given the time and energy expended. Brisbane, got a phone call. Local time. That's it. We're running out of questions. KPV did ask for Canadian top pilots to be differentiated from American top pilots. So that top pilot role, that's the 10 top pilots each month in terms of RP earned, I believe. Nav, correct me if I get any of that wrong. It's pulled off at the end of the month, and so those rotate if we can find you in Discord. Not everybody's in Discord. Sometimes those top 10 pilots aren't here. But we could look at a little Canadian flag, maybe, Bryce, beside the Canadian top pilot.
Makes a lot of sense. I like that.
Not a bad suggestion. Right on. I will have you, sorry, Bryce, passing back to you if you've posted the question, because I don't have the run of show in front of me.
Absolutely. Just needed to update that community question, but I think we're all good, and I'm back in the chat. All right. No problem. Nothing went wrong. Have we answered any and all of the questions we've had coming in? And have we gotten any Mini 2 questions? I feel like that's actually been relatively straightforward. Except for a lot of folks who have some strong opinions about the Mini 3.
The only question was Dajabu's off the hop about the potential for leaving it accessible. That currently is not part of the plan. So we will be entirely deprecating that side of the app come May 31st, same day that Google requires it. The comments about the Mavic 3 Pro, some comments about the UK. Yeah, the UK, it is not in the Play Store. It has to be provided via a link for users in the UK because we just don't have a large scale launch there yet. And yeah, Bryce, I'll let you carry on with community updates if there are more.
To be honest, we've actually gotten through all of them. That's all of our community updates, mission updates, network updates, and product updates. It's been a very efficient call despite the scale of some of these updates you guys have been getting. One thing I might ask the community if we have time, unless you have something to say, Graham.
There was a comment by Jay Sanlas about BV loss waivers, and then a question asking to explain more about this. So BV loss being beyond visual line of sight, the waiver from the FAA, I'm not exactly familiar with, but in general, I think the comment is saying that you can apply for a waiver to fly beyond visual line of sight, and you maybe should if you're flying in highly dense urban areas or possibly trying to get one or two spexagons away from your launch location rather than just flying the one that you're in. So that's, I think, what's being referred to there, Cleveland Rocks. But there are some different waivers, and I encourage everyone to continue to just research and study and be up to date with what the FAA is doing if you're in the US, because they are starting to send out some automated letters. There is more and more drone tracking happening. And so, yeah, be on top of things, be aware of what's coming down the pipeline. If we see anything, we'll share it. But also feel free to use the different chats in the Pilots Lounge to share any experience that you have or any news or articles that you see or are curious about.
Yeah, absolutely. In drone news, I was pretty surprised to see that Beijing, the city specifically, is putting even more restrictions on drones, and some pretty big ones. Not that it affects anyone we're directly working with, but it is probably one of the biggest updates I've seen in the space in some time.
Yeah, one thing, Nav, if you want to provide any technical updates, I know there's been some small fixes happened to some of the bugs that pods have been experiencing, and we also put out an SD card recommendation. Nav, do you want to jump in on that? If your audio is working again. Still no audio. All right. Yeah, just a recommendation on higher endurance SD cards. They may help, particularly with the grid mapping missions that take sort of 300, 320 images and move fairly quickly at 10 meters per second. So that was one. And then payments for a lot of the support issues have started flowing. As Alec came in and mentioned the other day, there was a little bit of a backlog and delay in our finance team switch from the Stripe payment platform to the LayerDrone payment rails via the blockchain, via USDC. So those should be flowing now. We're catching up. And so anyone that's awaiting either an incentive bonus for completing some of the demand missions or payment for failed flights or failed uploads or things like that were due to issues with the app or the uploader, you're probably starting to see those show up now. Back to you, Bryce.
Fantastic. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for answering all these questions so efficiently. I'm actually a little flat-footed as as a result of it. I do want to remind you guys to answer the Ask a Pilot in the next hour. If you want to get that little XP bonus, you'll get twice the XP. So just provide an answer. That's 50 XP. You share a photo or image of that weird capture, provided it doesn't break any decency laws, and we will double that XP. And I think we award 200 for a standard answer, so that's 400. I will reshare this week's Ask a Pilot. It's here, just in the chat, and I want to know what's the strangest thing you've captured with your drone. Just 5 minutes left, so if you guys do have any more questions, drop them in the chat. Otherwise, I can get started on the recording early if we have nothing else to talk to.
Yeah, I think that covers it off for me.
I do see several people are typing.
Ooh, how many people are going to fly Belleville, Ontario? I can't answer that.
Getting the inside scoop, RIVD.
Yeah, and I see McShaky type in there as well. Thank you to the pilots, if you're here, who have responded to the email regarding West Texas. Man, Texas is big, Bryce. It's big. It's big.
I've heard that. I've heard that about Texas. Did you hear their slogan? Actually, here's a fun fact to go out on. You've heard of Don't Mess with Texas? Do you know where that expression comes from? Like why that became the official slogan of Texas?
I do not.
It was originally an anti-littering PSA that got really, really popular in Texas, and then they made it their slogan. It has nothing to do with littering there now.
McShaky said trash. I think he knew.
McShaky, you know what? I think that gets... We're going to assume that wasn't directed at anyone else in the chat, and you were giving a really succinct answer. You're going to give... I'm going to give you a little extra 50 XP for getting that answer out before I had a chance. It's delightful. Otherwise, trivia answer. That was really mean or really clever.
Exactly. Let's call it there. Thank you, everyone, as always, for taking time out of your day today to listen and hang out with us, and also every time you go out and fly. We really appreciate the efforts in the field. I had to fly 6 missions. I got to fly, Bryce, 6 missions for some promotional stuff last week, and it doesn't take long to realize like it's not as simple as it looks and feels, and to remind myself, and that's something that we push onwards to our product team and our engineers, like, hey, it looks like when you run a simulation on your phone, it all goes really smoothly, but when you're out in the field and you're trying to find that spot to land, and it's not near power line, or launch and land, it's not near power lines, and you can park your vehicle or access it easily, and you can see the drone as we've talked about with visual on site, etc. It changes a lot, and I really respect you guys that get out there and are able to fly as many missions as you do. I think my top day ever is about 34, and I know there's people and the pilots on the network who have done more than double that in a day. So pretty impressive.
Absolutely. All right. So, just as a reminder, about a half an hour or so after this call, I will post a recap. A little bit after that, I will share a recording. It does occur to me this is the audience that has gotten the entire call and is least in need of the recording. So, weird reminder to make, but feel free to share to the news. I also love that Nav has his audio pop in every few seconds when he gets a notification. Kind of just reminds us he's here. I feel safer.
Yeah. And we invited Paul up, but he didn't come. But thanks for joining, Paul. We see you down there.
And thank you all for joining the call.
Thanks, all.
Yeah, have a great week.
Have a good afternoon. Have a great weekend.